Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this awesome Williams 1963 World Series pitch and bat pinball machine. It's not really a pinball, but kind of a pinball. It uses little balls and you hit it with the baseball bat. So no flippers on this one, but made by the Williams Pinball Machine Company, Williams Electronics. And we've done 2 videos on it already. So we did one where we kind of just looked over how freaking awesome it is. And then we did another one where we have been working down inside of it here. This particular game was operated at the beach for decades. And a gentleman bought it and wants us to fix it so he can put it in his home game room. This is like one of the actual ones he used to play. So that's what we're doing here. So in the previous video, we figured out that they had modified it at the beach by removing some stuff and simplifying the game. So the way they had it set up was you just play until you get 3 outs. Once you get 3 outs, the game is over. So there's no innings on it. And if you get 21 runs on this game, that's all that matters to that location. So up on the wall behind it at the beach, they had this big sign that said 21 runs and you win a free teddy bear or whatever. So you got a free teddy bear. And they had about a dozen of these lined up next to each other, which that's why it has the weird paint job. But we'll talk about that in a future video. But we need to get the thing to work. So we've got the play field in the back. And like I said, we already cleaned through all of this. So next stop, we need to go into the back box and work on that a little bit. So I'm going to pull it out from the wall and we'll check out what's going on. Now the high score setup, they basically had disabled at the beach. You can see where at some point there was tape over the windows, and one of the reels is even missing because that would be confusing at the beach. So basically all that mattered to the way they were playing it, they were operating it, is if you got 21 runs. So over here, what the last guy got, if he got 21 or 5 or 50, whatever, they didn't care. So they disabled that. So we're going to see if there's any more stuff where they've modded anything or whatever in the back. And that's next. So let me slide it out from the wall a little bit and we'll check it out. And of course it also has the base runner mechanism there in the back box. So let's see what's going on. All right, so look at all this. It's got the back door off. The running man unit, as they call it, is down here. We'll mess with that later. The playfield, or the bottom mech board, comes up, plugs in here, and then also comes up and has 3 different plugs up here. Jones plugs. Alright, so in the back box here we have the 2 high score reels, which we're basically going to ignore. The player unit has been removed, but we need to make sure both of these score units work really well, because that's the whole thing at the beach version. And then this is an interesting little piece here. This is the name step up unit, I believe it's called. Yeah, name step up unit. Okay. What that is yet another thing that Williams had designed in where, so the way it, at most places worked, you put a quarter in, you're trying to win a free game. Well, there's a thing where it would light up one letter of World Series, and when it got all the way to the end, you won a free game. But again, at the beach, they didn't want you doing that. They didn't want you to win a free game. They didn't want you to win anything from that. So they have disabled that as well. So the way they disabled it was they just cut the wire loose on the coil that resets it, and then they turned the disc all the way one way, and that basically lights up all of those letters so that it looks right. So simple as that. Now whenever, the way you would win it, I guess, is whenever that would pull in the last time, it would hit this switch, which gives you a credit if the disc was at the right spot or whatever. But they have disabled that. But we need all of those lights to be on. So I need to make sure that's clean. Let me think. We're trying to walk the balance of we can't really make it work the way it was supposed to work because it's missing some parts, and the guy doesn't really want it. He wants it to work like it was at the beach, where you basically just play it and try to get as many runs as you can. But the stepper unit that makes it have innings is missing, you know. So if I were to make this work, some of the where it says World Series wouldn't be lit up. Another thing we're going to have to ask him about, I suppose. So that's that one. And then this one here is the match unit. Whoop! Other pinballs yelling at us. This one is the match unit, which is for the same purpose. Like you win a free game if you match the numbers on the back glass. So they have, I guess, somehow disabled that as well. They may have just turned it off. Sometimes there's a connection where you can change it. So this says SPL adjustment 3 or 5. It's on 3, and then this one says MIST MYST skill off, and I have it turned off. So I wonder if that's turning the match unit off. Okay, then up here we've got, oh yeah, here we go. Match replays. They have it turned off. All replays turned off. High score replays turned off. And name replays turned off. So they have it set where you can't win any replays. So the name unit, we kind of need to be clean so that it provides power to all of the light bulbs so that they're all lit up. The match unit, they have turned off. However, we need the scoring unit to work. This is the run step-up unit. We need it to work, best I can tell at least. I see some other stuff here, though, that looks like maybe there's some jumpers missing. Kind of weird. Have to look into that. But this is at least all still hooked up. So, okay, let's see if we can figure out what the run step-up unit does. Let's look at the schematics real quick. All right, so we have this big old schematic sheet. By the way, if you're looking to get schematics for something, a good place to get them is the Pinball Resource. They, pbresource.com, they have schematics for about everything. If you're looking for something, go check out their website. Tell them we sent you. Boy, he loves that. He was telling me the other day that he had to tell me thanks for sending so many people to him. And I said, don't thank me. We thank you for having all these great parts. Anyway, so there's the run unit. You can see all the little jumper connections on the top. That's what I guess we were just looking at. It's involved with the high score. So, I don't know what that switch is for. Let's see here. Oh yeah, that's how it makes the high score reset relay trip. Okay, so more high score stuff. And then this is the other part of the run unit. I guess more connections on it. Connects through the high score unit to also give you the high score. So again, it's more stuff that we don't need for the cheapened down version of the game. We may go back and revisit that later after I talk to him if he wants it set up where the World Series thing wins a free game, or if you get a certain number of runs you win a free game. That would probably be a good way to do it. Like if we could set it up where you get 21 runs or whatever, it would kind of mimic. Can you believe this pinball machine? It would kind of mimic how it was at the beach. So, we'll have to think about that. I'll see if I can get a hold of him and see what he says. So there's that. But what I'm trying to do is just get the thing to play for now, where we can actually just see if we can score any points on it. But that's what the run unit does. So we may end up having to get that to work. The match unit just gives you an extra ball. I mean, an extra game if you if you match the last number on your score with the number that lights up on the back glass. So that's kind of like a chance thing. But, you know, now that I think about it, you probably would want the run thing to work, because that kind of a similar thing happened at the beach. So basically, if you got 21 runs, you went over and got the attendant and had him come back and then showed him or her, look, it's got 21 runs, and you want a free teddy bear. So if we make it where when he gets 21 runs, the knocker goes off or something, that would probably be a good thing. Okay, so we'll start there. So we'll start working on that and see if we can get it to work. Let's go check it out. So just like any stepper unit, there is a disc on the back that goes around and hits different contacts, just like this one that we're seeing. Okay, so we need to clean that all up. I'm going to turn it off, and then we'll lay this down to where we can get to that disc on the other side. Okay, so I've laid it down. I took the nut that holds the disc on. They had it glued on. So one of the things that's interesting about working on this particular one is it was operated for so long, and it was at at Myrtle Beach. So I mean, this is like hardcore operating. This is like the thing has to work for decades, you know, and you don't see that very often. Usually the games would come out and any game would get replaced after a while with something new. But this one, it's such a timeless game that they just kept using them for like 40, 50 years. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, by the way, look at this. Still got the tax sticker on the back door from 2008. So 63 to 2008, 45 years this thing was operated. That is nuts. So one of the things that the operator chose to do was they glued the freaking nut on, but I got it off. So just like always, we're going to clean up these rivets and then put a little dielectric grease on it. And I keep having haters telling me not to put the dielectric grease on it. People, come on now. Come on, people. I didn't invent that. Lots of people put dielectric grease on it. It originally had a little grease. And they don't understand why you put dielectric grease, because dielectric grease is an insulator. So therefore, the metal won't conduct through the grease. That's why you put it on there, so that you don't short two of the freaking rivets together. If I put grease on here that's conductive, you're conducting between two rivets. It will start a freaking fire. So you put dielectric grease that doesn't conduct. When the metal rolls over, the pressure of the metal pushes through the grease and it conducts where it needs to conduct, but it doesn't short rivets together. People, come on now. Come on, why you got to second guess everything I do? Come on now, people. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to clean it up a little bit. I use like mild sandpaper. Don't go crazy. But these things can handle a little rubbing, right? And look how filthy it is. I mean, come on. You got to get some of that off. And by the way, what is that I'm seeing on there? Oh, is that some kind of grease that somebody else applied? You need if it's metal on metal, you need a little bit of something on there, people. All right, so let me clean it up, and I'll show you the grease we use. Okay, so I cleaned it with a magic eraser, and then sanded it a little bit, got it nice and shiny, and then put a little bit of synthetic grease on it. Like I said, dielectric is what you want. Where does it say dielectric? Dielectric, that's what you want, people. Don't listen to the people, the naysayers. You want it not to conduct electricity, so it won't conduct electricity between everything. Come on now, people. Come on now, think about it a little bit. Come on. All right, so the platter needs to go back on, cleaned it up a little bit. Now on these, you need to make sure that they are moving well. These will get all sticky and gummy. And so you can put just a little teeny tiny, don't drench it, a little bit of oil on the top to lubricate it, because it's metal on metal, right? But you don't want so much that it's dripping off of it and it will drip all over all your stuff, because oil is conductive, right? So you got to be careful. All right, and then you got to remember how it went on there as well. Now this one, someone has made a little paint mark for me. Boy, that was nice of them. So it'll go right back on. If the thing is gummed up to where it won't turn very well, you need to take the wheel all the way out. We'll look at that on the other side. You need to take it all the way out because you've got to lubricate in between. But on this one, I was able to put a little oil around the shaft down underneath the sleeve, and everything is moving real smooth. I'll show you here in a second. So let me put that back on, and then we'll stand it back up so we can look at the other side. Okay, so we've got it up. Now let me show you something interesting. Look at the board on the back, that the disc that has all the rivets on it. Look how it's crooked. So on this particular one, that's how it is. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's in the wrong place because the rivets are lining up where they actually are touching the little feet. If I can find some of them. Where'd my little feet go? My poor feet. I've lost them. Well, they're around on the other side now. Can we get to it from here? Okay. Let's step up one spot. Let's see if they line up now. I can't tell because I'm looking through the thing. Yeah, see how they lined up with the rivets? So even though the board is crooked, it's lined up with the rivets. If you straighten the board, you don't line up with the rivets anymore. So don't worry about if the board's straight or not. Don't do it, people. Don't do it. Now on this one, the board looks pretty straight. And on that one, the board looks pretty straight. So I don't know. Something we got to watch though. We're gonna check that out. Okay, so here's how you want it to be though. So I have moved these out of the way so that they are no longer in the cog there. And this thing now will just freewheel. Now it's got the board on the other side, you know. But there's very little friction because I put a little oil on the shaft, and then on the other side we've got that synthetic grease, so there's very little friction at all. And I didn't tighten this anymore, the spring. If you could go around one more turn with the spring and make it where it's just really strong, but you want it to be able to move easily, but then also reset easily. Okay. Eventually this bar will go, I think it's 45 steps, and then open that switch. Now, how would I possibly know that's 45 steps? Because on this coil, it says open at 45, replay, step up. I don't know. That's not right, though, because we're not on the replay unit. We're on the run unit. Let me find it on the run unit. Aha! Open at 45 on the run unit. There's one that opens there, so that's the one we're looking at. And if that opens, the run relay will no longer work that way. Whatever. Now, let me address something that some of you people who really know their stuff are thinking. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Ron, the knocker's not going to work because there's no replay unit in the machine. See, some of you are just smart enough to get in trouble. Usually, the way the knocker works is whenever you add a credit, the replay unit moves one, and there is an end of stroke switch where it hits a switch as it closes, and that gives you a credit. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Not that gives you a credit, that gives you the knocker. It makes the knocker work. So usually, when the coil pulls in on the replay unit, this little bar hits this switch like we were talking about a minute ago, and that switch makes the knocker work. So without the replay unit, how are we going to get the knocker to work? Well, thankfully on this one it's wired a little differently. So usually the replay step-up coil would pull in that bar, and the bar would hit a switch, which would make the knocker work. But this vintage, they're done a little differently. What happens is, if you get any kind of, on the run unit disc, you get the whatever it is, right? When the end of stroke switch on it closes, and let's say you're at 21 runs or whatever we've got it set for, it will connect up through here. Now we got to turn on the replays, right? it'll go through the tilt relay so the game's not tilted, and it will throw power right here. Okay, which will step up the replay unit, but we don't have a replay unit. Gives you an extra credit, as long as you don't have 45 credits. But this won't work because it's not in there. However, the line also goes over here, and through the quarter relay, the 25-cent relay, it will send power wham to the knocker. So they don't use an extra switch to do that. Although it does need to be the end of stroke switch on the run unit needs to work right. So we got to make sure we got that right. So here's the same setup, and this is the run unit that we're working on right now. So as this goes in, there are actually 3 end of stroke switches on the run unit. I wonder why they need 3. So one's adding to the replay unit. Now keep in mind though that was only in play if you had enough runs and the jumper was right and all of that. So every time that doesn't give you a run. So this is going to say you got 8 home runs. Now you got 9 home runs. You got 10 home runs. Well, it'll hit that every time, but it doesn't matter if you're not set up to, if you're not at the right place where you've got 20 runs or 22 runs or whatever you got it set at. So it hits 3 of them each time. I wonder what the other 2 do. Let me see if I can find them. Okay, one of them is used to turn on the high score relay if the conditions are right. But we don't have all that stuff. So that's what one of them does. And one of them is used to turn on the actual run relay. And we don't know what that does yet, but we'll figure it all out. So they need all 3 of them, but we got to make sure they're nice and clean and adjusted well, so that it will make the knocker work whenever we get to the appropriate number of runs. Okay, so I cleaned the 3 switches and then this one as well. Made sure this one stays closed, and then make sure that these 3 close as it does its little thing. So, come on now. Come on, people. So, all 3 of them close, and you see the big blade moves the little blade just a little bit. That's what you want. It's kind of pushing through it, And then I put 1 drop of oil there, 1 drop of oil there, 1 drop of oil there, like it usually says in the manual. And that's about it. We can't do anything else to it until we play it a little bit and just see if everything's working right. It seems like it should. It's stepping up well, and it's resetting well. Can't beat that. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is mess with the score reels a little bit. So let me pull one of those out. All right, so I removed one, and there's a little C-clip and 3 screws where you can take the reel off. So I took the reel off, and we're down into the mechanics of it. Now when this pulls in, this is all gummed up and it's not moving good. You know why, right? WD-40. People, don't use WD-40. Come on now, what are you doing? It's horrible stuff. So they've sprayed some kind of crap all over this and it's all gummed up. So I'm going to just take it apart and clean it a little bit. Now, I'm not going to go crazy, but I'm going to clean it up a little bit. Put a little 3-in-1 oil on the metal to metal parts. And then we'll see if we can get it moving much more smoothly. Look at that. How cool is that? Okay, so that's clean, people. That's much cleaner than it was. Come on now. So the reason it was moving backwards when it shouldn't was because this lever here was seized up. Cleaned it up so it falls back into place so it keeps it from moving backwards. Okay, and then I cleaned the plunger. And of course I took this off, cleaned all of that. So now when it goes in, much better. So it's snappy now. Look how snappy. And so you have this one switch here that rides on a cam. Okay. And when you get to a certain spot, the switch opens. So that must be used to reset it to 0. And this particular board, it's interesting. They don't use any other switches or, you know, the Bakelite board or whatever it's called, with rivets on it or anything to tell what position it's at for any of the score or any of the reward scoring. You know, they only use 3 wires, so there's like a common that goes to the switch and the coil, and then 1 wire to the coil and 1 wire to the switch. Pretty wild. So the actual drum unit, though, I can't clean. It's in bad shape. So it looks like maybe originally the 987654 was painted a different color, and it's just deteriorated a lot. So if you look, I don't have it with us right now, but on a previous video, there was this thing has been heavily modified, of like we've been talking about, for the to be at the beach, and it said something about if a red score is showing, the score is invalid. So this is the tens position of the runs. So it looks like if you got up past 39 runs and it rolled over into the 40, they didn't even give you your prize. I guess they figured you must have messed with it or something. I don't know. But they went through a lot of trouble to color those because of that. So that's something else they added at some point. Very strange. Okay, so I'm going to put this back on, and this one should work fine, and then we'll pull the other one out. Okay, so here's the other one. This is the ones. So I cleaned it up. Come on, people, that's clean for grease. I cleaned it, and then I put oil on it. 3-in-1 oil. It's old, all right? Look at that, working perfectly. But this one has more going on. So you still got the one here that opens when it gets to 0. Bam, so it can tell it it's reset. And then you have the one here that closes when it gets to 9. So it closes, and then the next time this gets power, it sends power over to that one to turn this 9 into a 0, and that 0 into a 1, 10. And then you've also got a end of stroke switch here that opens every time, that the other one didn't have. So it must be used to turn off the point relay, whatever pulls the makes that pull in. Okay, so this reel, same thing. It's deteriorating badly. So it's got loose paint on it. You can't really clean it. If I clean it, it's just going to all fall apart. So you can actually print new stickers and just repaint this and stick them on there if you want. But we're going to just leave it how it is. It looks pretty good, and it won't get much wear in there. It's just going to not look new. I'll put it back on. Okay, so I have put them back in, but let me show you something. There are these 2 relays down here, and we looked at those earlier. Look, one says reset relay on the left, and the one on the right says name relay. Remember, we were talking about the name unit, but look, the coil's gone out of the name relay. What were they doing? They've sabotaged it. Look at that. So I can't fix the name relay thing. But hopefully they've got it where all the lights are locked on. Hopefully. Let's hope. Okay, so we got those. We got this. Match unit. We decided we didn't want to do that. The name step up. That's the one we're talking about right now. Basically, they have the relay removed, so I guess it's stepped all the way up. The high score ones, one of them's missing, and they had the other one just laying down in here whenever we got it. That was weird. But that's kind of all of that. So I think, I don't know. What do you think? Should we slide the playfield back in it and see if it'll start? It might do something. We can try. We didn't mess with this yet. But let's try it. I'll try sliding the playfield back in it. All right, folks. So I slid it back in there, and we'll check it out with it raised up. Now, we haven't done anything to the playfield yet. This particular one is missing parts. So it's missing one of the ramps. This one is damaged. And there is a sticker on the back that says that the pitch motor does not work. We already looked at this in the first video. Okay. But I want to test that before we say for sure that it doesn't work. So we'll do a video where we're working on the playfield. This one has had the magnet removed. Yes, they had a magnet so that it could throw a curveball. And it's also had the relay removed that switches up the pitch from slow to fast and all of that, so it just throws the same pitch over and over again. Again, stuff they did at the beach. They also had a knob here where they could increase or decrease how strong you could hit the ball with the bat. So, you know, we can't play it or anything, but I just figured I'd pop it in there and see what happens whenever we turn it on, and if we hit start or add a credit to it if anything happens. So let's see. Right, so it lit up and has the tilt light on. We're going to try to hit the button, folks. So you can see the title. We didn't do the light bulbs yet, but you can see the World Series. Most of them are lit up. I think the other ones are probably just going to be because of the light bulbs. They've got flashers behind the players, of course. So let's see what happens when I hit start, or when I give it a credit. If I can figure out how to give it a credit. That got our score motor turning. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You would think if you put the credit in. There we go. So I didn't give it enough, I guess. We have one light under one of the ramps on, and that's all you can tell from the playfield. Pretty wild. Let's see if we can get the pitch motor to do anything. This says bat relay, so I suppose if we hit that, it will pull in the bat. Maybe, maybe not. I can't read any of these right now. Pitch motor is just fine, folks. Maybe that was an old comment and they have replaced it at some point. The pitch motor's fine. Okay, so it's not really doing anything, but well, I guess we could see if we can get a run. How do we get a run? So let's say we hit it, we think we hit it, and we land in here. The unit is moving down there. It's just not popping the batter up where you can actually see them. If you didn't see that on the previous video, we messed with that a little bit. But of course we're going to have to go all through that. But I don't know how, you know. So I suppose it would keep him up on deck, and you'd have a player, you know, and then if you hit a double or something. So that gave me an out, and it did give me an out. And then I don't know if it's gonna. So I hit a double. So we got a player on second. Let's hit a double again. So that should have got me a run, but it did not. So who knows what's going on. You might not be able to do it like we're doing it. Hit a triple. Okay. Here's another out. So our two lit up. Again, we haven't done the light bulbs yet. And how do I give it a home run? We got to go up top with that, I guess. Maybe I can do it from the back. Nope. We're getting dirt all over our lens. Look at that. I can't really reach it with the playfield up. Let's see if this wants to cooperate. Yeah. It cooperated. Okay, so if you hit the ramp, it goes up top, hits this switch. A switch somewhere. So it ran, but it's not giving us a run. So there must be something on that unit, which is what actually triggers the score reels. So I guess that would be next. We need to mess with the playfield, and we need to mess with the running man unit. And if I get one more out, game over. I didn't like. We got something going on. All right, so we would need to work on the running man unit, and obviously the playfield. But it's starting to limp along. It's starting to do a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed it so far. We have decided that we are going to paint it, by the way. We talked with the owner, and he wants to paint it. So we're going to do that in a future video. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed it so far. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. And you want to know how you can support our channel? We have a link down below to Amazon. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, use our link to do it. And it gives us a tip. So a lot of people have been doing that. We've even had people bookmark the link. Boy, that's nice. Our buddy Matt did that. Didn't you, Matt?
Sure did.
He's lying. He didn't do it. He says he didn't do it. I can tell when he's lying. Basically, if his lips are moving, he's lying. So, Matt didn't do it, but you could do it. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. We also, on our website, if you go to lionsarcade.com, we have a parts page, and we have a bunch of links on the parts page to things, a lot of them on Amazon as well, that we use whenever we do repairs in our videos and stuff. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. We recently redesigned it. And last but not least, don't forget to check out my brother Donnie. My brother has his own channel here on YouTube where he gets into much more trouble than I do. And we work on arcade games, pinball machines, and jukeboxes. But my brother Donnie works on mobile homes. Matt, did you know we're starting a new mobile home repair video series soon?
I can imagine.
By the time these people see this video, it will have begun. So we're renovating a mobile home. Come on, how cool is that? Have you seen many videos of people renovating a mobile home, a trailer, from start to finish? No, you have not. But we already did one. We got like a whole series over there on his channel. We're going to do another one. And old buildings, old vehicles, things like that. Yesterday, he had me helping him load a cow in a trailer. It took 2 hours. The cow was smarter than we were. The cow figured out what we were trying to do and would not get on the freaking trailer. Wouldn't do it. We didn't film that, though. But that's the type of stuff that he does pretty much daily. And so whenever we do film it, it's kind of an interesting look at his life. So go check that out. I'm over there with him on his channel a lot. And we will see you on the next video here where we will work on the playfield. And then we got to work on the running man unit. So we'll see you next time.